I already done did. I'm saying I was when I got my hair done. I had to go in.
Dr. Buller? I'm doing well. How you doing?
Ooh, some just wouldn't do it. It was just something about yesterday just didn't work for me.
You got some additional exercise.
I overdid. I got a couple of questions for extra.
Which I'll ask.
Oh, I don't really don't did that. Uh-huh. You know what?
Mic check.
It's a correction. But
Testing.
County Board of Education meeting. Thank you to our in-person and online communities and stakeholders for joining us this evening. On behalf of the Board of Education, we would like to extend a special thank you to Pastor Mark Grinstead and the Stone Creek Baptist Church for hosting the third installment of our board meeting tour. It is my pleasure to call the Tweaks County Board of Education meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, June 8th, 2021, and the time now It's 6:14 p.m. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight, I want to allow opportunity for Pastor Dr. Grinstead to come forward, if he would, and give us a prayer in his own way.
Hey, I invite you to be seated if you'd like. That's okay. Hey, we want to say thank you for allowing us to host your meeting tonight. We love our community. We love the work that you do. Would you join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, we want to thank you so much, Lord, for your grace, your mercy, and Father, for this privilege tonight, Lord, to be in the community, for the board meeting to be here, Lord, and God, to show our community that they care. And Father, I just want to pray your blessings on our meeting tonight. I pray, Father, that as you would prompt our hearts, Lord, that you would just fill us, Lord, with your presence and your being here, God. We thank you so much, Lord, for just a privilege, as your word says, that the beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. And God, we love you and thank you so much. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Grinstead. At this time, without further ado, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Meeting date, Tuesday, June 8th, 2021.
I move that motion.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. Blackshear. May I have a second?
Second it.
Seconded by Vice Chair Mr. Rouse. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll know you by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Our business agenda has been approved. At this time, we will move into approval of minutes. Board members, we have the minutes from our May 18th, 2021 BOE call session and our May 25th, 2021 work session. Give us a moment to preview these once more. If we find any discrepancies or any discussion, we'll have that at this time prior to approving these minutes.
Brother Chair.
Proceed, Ms. King.
I would like to make a motion to approve the May 18th board meeting minutes with the correction of Ms. Stokes making a motion to adjourn the meeting. She was not present at that time.
Thank you, Ms. King. Any discussion? May I have a second? Motion has been properly made by Ms. King, seconded by Ms. Stokes. Is there any discussion? No discussion. I know you by saying aye, raising your hand if you approve
Aye.
these minutes with the motion. And these, again, this motion is to accept the minutes. I think that was unanimous vote. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. I want to restate that that motion was to approve the minutes from our BOE call session, May 18th, May 25th. That correction was what date again, Ms. King?
It was May the 18th.
All right.
Is where the correction should be.
All right. Noted. The correction has been noted of the motion by Ms. Stokes and will be corrected. All right. Board members, before we move to the ethics statement, I want to point your attention to our agenda. There is no need to amend our agenda because all items will be presented. However, with your consensus, I want to, with the recommendation of Dr. Bullard, I want to move item F to item A and item A to item F. Board members, does that meet your approval? Thank you. Amendment made. Dr. Bullard. At this time, we will have the ethics statement by Ms. Teresa Blackshear.
Thank you. In accordance with regulations set forth by the Georgia Ethics Commission, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflict of interest and interest of such conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest? Seeing none, Mr. Chair, we'll proceed with our agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Blackshear. At this time, I would like to ask any board member who has comments or remarks to now state them, and you go in whichever order you should feel. Well, since no one moved fast enough, I will point the attention to Ms. Stokes as we are in her district tonight. Ms. Stokes, do you have any comments or remarks to the community?
Well, we enjoyed the retirement meal at in Dublin since we've seen each other since. But it was very enjoyable. Everybody should have. Y'all missed out on a lot. Our lunchroom employees helped out. Our janitor staff helped out, and it was very good. I could do it again. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Stokes. Any other board member comments? All right. At this time, we will have superintendent's comments and remarks. Dr. Bullard.
Good evening, Board Chair.
Good evening.
Harris, Vice Chair Rouse, board members, community, present and virtual. Good evening to everyone again. It is my pleasure to make superintendent comments and announcements tonight. And I have several, and I'll go as quickly as I can, but all of these comments are very important. It's so wonderful. Thank you again, Pastor Mark, for allowing us the opportunity to use your beautiful house of worship to conduct our third town hall board meeting. We are so gracious that you opened your doors to us and allowed us to conduct our business and have a wonderful town hall meeting with wonderful constituents this afternoon. I learned a lot and gained a lot from this meeting. I want to mention Chairman Harris and the board, and especially to our stakeholders tonight, that you'll understand beyond a shadow of a doubt when I say that great things are still happening in Twiggs County Public Schools. Last Saturday, we were proud to host at the Twigg County High School, our alumni and Atlanta Falcon cornerback, Darquez Denard difference football tryouts. My family and I attended the tryouts, and I was so proud of our students, of the professionalism of our staff, and the seriousness Mr. Denard and his team members gave to our students. This was clearly anything but a celebrity photo op. Mr. Denard is committed to Twiggs County, and he is truly committed to making a difference in the lives of our students. And I want to also recognize Mr. Deion Stanley, who's here tonight. Would you mind standing, sir? Would you all give him a round of applause? He helped to organize the event. That was well attended. I was very proud of that moment. We're putting some pictures up on the screen for you to see some shots from that day. It was very well attended. Students, parents, I understand, were living vicariously through their students as they tried out. It was a great opportunity for the community to rejoice and to celebrate. As Ms. Stokes also mentioned, that I was joined by my wife and several board members and had the opportunity to celebrate my predecessor, our former superintendent, Mr. Elgin Dixon, at his retirement gala this past Saturday night. It was a celebration worthy of a man and his service to not just this district, but his impact in Middle Georgia as well. We showered him and are continuing to shower him with gifts and tributes until his last official day, which is June the 30th. This board and I will attend the Georgia School Board Association Summer Conference in Savannah beginning tomorrow. This is the time when our board sits for mandated training and retooling. We are especially proud that this year our own Gates Millennium Scholar and 2021 valedictorian, Ayla Burks, will join us as one of the student speakers on Thursday at the conference. She continues to be a bright light in this district, and we will be there celebrating as she continues to shine and continues with her success. I want to remind you all that the district will close the week of June the 28th through July the 4th. This is the time that our 12-month employees can rest and get renewed before the beginning of the school year. And I also want to make you aware, if you weren't aware, that before we close for vacation, we have some possibilities and positions to fill for the new school year. And we'll do so by hosting our first Twiggs County Public School Job Fair. We are excited about this event and this opportunity to place our district on display and brag about our successes while recruiting some amazing team members. We want to encourage everyone, if you have friends or family members who are looking to launch a new career opportunity, let them know that we are looking for them. We are proud to say that our new salary schedule and scale that has been approved by our board is competitive, and we have some excellent incentives in place. So join us this coming Saturday, June the 12th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Hilton Garden Inn on the campus of Mercer University. And finally, we are proud to recognize some of our amazing staff members who are behind our wins as a district. We want to use this platform to let our community know that you may not see their work or hear their names called, but our Twiggs County Public Schools staff is committed to generating excellence every single day. And we want to take a moment to make you aware of some of our superheroes. Every year, the Georgia Workers' Compensation Trust awards certificates of appreciation to all districts that maintain 25% or less ratio. And Twiggs is among the districts that received this commendation this year. And what that means is that throughout our entire district, we've had less than 25% of our employees who reported any injury while they were at work, which cost the district in raised insurance costs and medical fees that we have to pay. This award is a result of employee safety, eliminating hazards that cause harm to our staff, and we are honored to recognize Mrs. Mindy Floyd, who leads the worker compensation efforts in our district. Ms. Floyd, would you come forward?
I could not do this by myself. This award does not belong just to me. It belongs to us as a district. I know that we jokingly say that some schools have more claims than others. But to be honest, the claims are very small. And the safety that we have, that Mr. Bacon goes around to make sure we have in place, those are all things too. And Miss Stanley and her group in the kitchen, they are making sure that they're wearing the non-skid shoes that they need to wear to keep from falls from happening and things like that. So all of you all deserve the award. Thank you.
Our Twiggs County Public Schools School Nutrition and Food Services Department are unsung heroes in our district. and the state of Georgia agrees with me. Throughout the pandemic, our nutrition staff stopped at nothing to shift operations and adapt meal programs to curbside pickup. You all know what that means.
All right, all right.
Home delivery, and classroom feeding to make sure our students had access to food and educational equity. We are proud to join with the No Kid Hungry Georgia in recognizing Mrs. Sandra Stanley and her outstanding staff who have been honored statewide as a Georgia League for Hunger Heroes. As I call your name, please come forward and be celebrated. From Jeffersonville Elementary School, Ms. Tasha Nikki Thomas. Miss Ronnie McElhenry McElhaney. Miss Serena Stanley. Miss Joanne McClinton. And from Twiggs Middle High School, Miss Yvette Williams. Miss Nancy Brown. Miss Lisa Burns. Miss Ashley McLeod. Did I forget someone? Okay. And we would be remiss not to recognize Mrs. Stanley's assistant, who keeps the nutrition and business department, as well as the central office, organized year-round, Miss Delphi Curry. None of this would be possible without the leadership of our Director of School Nutrition. Will you please come forward, Ms. Sandra Stanley. Somebody did. Miss Velvy Butler. This plaque says, Twiggs County School Nutrition Team, thank you, Hunger Heroes, No Kid Hungry, for the state of Georgia. And I'm going to give this plaque to Ms. Stanley. Finally, I am honored to present the inaugural Superintendent's Award of Excellence. This is an anonymous quote that sums up this award. Excellence is never an accident. It is the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, skillful execution, and the vision to see obstacles as opportunities. This award is presented to a Twiggs County Public School team member who has accomplished a personal goal that has improved the quality of life while generating excellence within the school system. Tonight, we salute Ms. Lisa Nichols.
It's just like any playful, but sometimes.
After 30 years, she returned to college and graduated with honors from Fort Valley State University with a degree, Bachelor's of Science in Organizational Leadership. We present this award to her, presented Tuesday.
Steps on the campus of Middle Georgia
June 8th.
College.
This is the
But she
news
says
story
books were the last
that was
thing on her
posted
mind.
about her.
After
the
3
news.
years, 'cause I was not focused, had a little boyfriend I was trying to run behind.
Time went on, and in that time, Lisa got married and had 2 children.
My husband was in a car accident, and which left him a quadriplegic. So I had to stay home and take care of him. After he passed, my mom had Alzheimer's, so I kind of was caring for her and working. And I just, I always felt bad that I didn't finish school.
A few years later, Lisa's daughter, Jalissa, went off to college and got pregnant with her baby boy, Carson.
Whenever I had Carson, I just kind of was like done with school. I was like, I got a baby, like I can't go to school and have a baby at the same time.
Lisa took care of her grandson so that Jalissa could finish school. In 2017, Lisa's son Nedrick started attending Fort Valley State University. A few years later, he told his mom that he no longer wanted to finish school.
How would I tell him about being a dropout when I was a dropout?
Lisa says her son's decision to put down the books inspired her to pick them up. In 2019, she became a full-time student at Fort Valley State University. And on May 15th, she will graduate from the university with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Organizational Leadership with a concentration in Public Administration.
But I'm very, very, very proud of her. She has definitely gone through so much and just pushed through regardless of everything that, came her way.
Lisa says it hasn't always been an easy road, but it was worth it.
It's just awesome. It's just to think after 30 plus years to go back to school. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. But, I just thank God he just allowed me to complete that milestone.
Reporting in Milledgeville, Taylor Hicks, 13 WMAZ News.
The Superintendent's Award of Excellence to Ms. Lisa Nichols. Mr. Chair, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. Let's put our hands together for some amazing district celebrations. Thank you, Dr. Bullard, for your comments, remarks. I think we need some tissue right about now. Listen, not taken for words often, but I am so elated to have the opportunity to share in these celebrations, Dr. Bullard, as we know that this district can do anything. And with the people that we have in place, we have the team that we need. We're receiving those people who we need to push this. And it's just an amazing feeling to celebrate those. What you always want to do is celebrate what you have. You may not need any more. They'll push a little further. So thank you, Dr. Bullard, for these implementation of celebrations, as we know that there are years to come with so many exciting things in the Twiggs County District. As we have a full agenda tonight, let's keep going. Board, may we enter into business agenda? We have no further remarks or comments. All right, when we move in here, we're gonna ride. All right. Business agenda item A, that is Education Element Strategic Plan Partnership. This is an information item. I will submit this back to Dr. Bullard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight, we are going to present to you all a strategic planning and instructional blueprint support initiative that we are looking to begin this month for the next 6, potentially 9 months, planning to make a significant plan of improvement in all areas of our school district through the strategic planning process. The senior cabinet and I have vetted 2 of the leading strategic planning organizations that we were considering, and we'd like to present tonight Education Elements as the candidate of our choice to help move us forward with our strategic planning process. I'm going to introduce to you all Mr. Justin DeLeon and Mr. Daniel Johnson, who are part of that organization, and they're going to present to us virtually tonight. Some companies are still on travel limitations, and they couldn't be with us personally tonight, but we have a virtual presentation that is prepared for you tonight. We won't ever leave this tool, so I want you all to benefit from what virtual education will look like even in the future potentially for our students, because we're going to move our districts towards personalized learning as well, which will largely involve some instructional delivery through devices such as you see. So, Mr. Johnson, Mr. DeLeon, I'll turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bullard. And I just wanted to say thank you to the board members of Twiggs County Public Schools and all the community members. And congratulations to everybody who just received an award. Congratulations on all of your accomplishments. It's nice to just be able to take in that positive energy and that recognition,
Mr.
especially
DeLeon,
after.
Mr. Basley is working on your sound.
Okay.
Try now.
Let me know when I should proceed.
Mr. DeLeon, try one more time.
Mr. Basley, let us know if you
We'll let you keep working on it. We're not going to slow the meeting down. Daniel, can you speak? Mr. Johnson, can you hear me? I'm not sure if they can hear me either, Mr. Basley. Mr. Johnson, Mr. DeLeon, can you all hear me? Well, that's okay. We're going to move on. This is what I will do. I am going to make the presentation.
Proceed, Dr.
All
Bullard.
right. So, Mr. I can hear you now.
Well, look at God.
It is much better.
That's it.
I was about to take over your presentation.
Excellent. I can hear you all sound, we can see you beautifully, but the sound is a little bit distant. So if you see me leaning in or Daniel leaning in, we're just trying to hear. Okay?
Very good.
I will start again from the beginning. Dr. Gold, I wanted to thank you for including us tonight in the board meeting, and I wanted to say on behalf of Daniel and I, thank you to the board members of Twiggs County Public Schools for including us, and and your community. And I don't know if this came through before, but I just wanted to also just recognize and say congratulations to everybody who has just received awards earlier from Dr. Bullard. It's really nice to be able to participate in that and just see from a distance that positive recognition and energy going into the summer as people get a little respite before we start back next school year.
A Milledgeville mom of two is now at Fort Valley State University, where she will receive her college degree 30 years after she started working on that degree. Taylor Hicks spoke with Lisa Nichols about what inspired her to get back in the classroom and how she stayed focused.
In 1981, Lisa Nichols took her first steps on the campus of Middle Georgia College, but she says books were the last thing on her mind.
After 3 years, I dropped out because I was not focused, had a little boyfriend I was trying to run behind.
Time went on, and in that time, Lisa got married and had 2 children.
My husband was in a car accident, which left him a quadriplegic. So I had to stay home and take care of him. After he passed, my mom had Alzheimer's, so I kind of was caring for her and working. And I just, I always felt bad that I didn't finish school.
A few years later, Lisa's daughter, Jalissa, went off to college and got pregnant with her baby boy, Carson.
Whenever I had Carson, I just kind of was like done with school. I was like, I got.
About our work and what we hope to do with y'all and Twigs. Thank you, Daniel. So we are going to share a few slides to help summarize the collaboration we hope to partake in with the community in Twigs, and certainly open it up for your questions and clarify anything that we can. Very, very briefly about Education Elements. We are a national K-12 consultancy, so we support districts in all sizes, in all settings, from Miami, Florida to Fairbanks, Alaska, and districts in between. As Daniel mentioned, we support a number of districts in Georgia. I personally work right now with Bibb County, Muskogee, and most recently Dooley County. And our work focuses on designing and implementing personalized learning models, helping districts to craft and communicate their strategic plans and bring those plans into an actionable state and actually implement them. We also do work around teacher recruitment and retention. So we have a broad range of ways that we support school districts. And again, we are hoping to focus our support on strategic planning and the design of an instructional blueprint. As Dr. Bullard and Daniel and I began our conversations, he made it clear that in the first 90 days of his work as the new superintendent, much of the energy was going into listening and building relationships with stakeholders across the community and understanding what's working well, where some of the challenges and opportunities are, and to understand that from a very broad range of stakeholders. And I'm sure that will include many of you in the room tonight as well. And our understanding is that the charge is partially to synthesize much of that learning, as well as to analyze some data across the district, be it from human resources or student performance and academics data, to help to clarify and gain a very clear picture on the current state of the district, the needs and the opportunities for improvement across different departments and across schools and across the community, for the intention of designing and building a strategic plan and an action plan to support it, and then also clarifying what the instructional blueprint will be to guide teaching and learning into the future for all the students and teachers across the district. And so our proposed approach in our partnership with Twigs is broken out into 2 stages. The first stage is to create the strategic plan. And as I mentioned, that builds on Dr. Bullard's stakeholder input and all the listening that has and is continuing to happen. And us, the Ed Elements team, synthesizing all of that listening, all of that learning, and then engaging the community, the senior cabinet, other staff members in transforming those inputs into a set of initiatives that are accessible and clearly communicated, and then also transforming those needs into a very structured and prioritized action plan to outline the milestones, to outline the monitoring metrics that will help guide and adapt the plan over time. So we'll get to more of that in a little bit. And then from there, the intention is to develop an instructional blueprint, both as a way to execute on and support a core aspect of the strategic plan, which is around improving instruction and helping to make teaching and learning more personalized for students across the district, but also to clarify the guiding philosophy that will drive decision-making around what academic initiatives are prioritized, how resources are used, and to align the way that leaders and teachers and community members communicate around teaching and learning in Twigs. So Daniel's gonna walk us through the strategic plan and get into some more detail so it's more clear to everybody tonight.
Yeah, so as Justin mentioned, we hope to approach this work in 2 stages. The first being around building the 5-year strategic plan, and the second being carrying out a key component of that plan and modeling and practicing the project management and strategy and what goes into executing on the strategic plan. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is stage 1, which is creating that strategic plan and 2 outcomes we hope to work towards. The first is to actually synthesize and capitalize on the learnings from the first phase of the superintendent's of Dr. Buller's 90-day plan to guide the development of the strategic planning work. So including even tonight's learning and listening tour, the findings that are being collected, using those to guide this planning process. The second objective here is to build really a board level readout, and when we say board level, we really mean community level readout and external facing summary to communicate the 5-year strategic plan, as well as a project plan to bring that strategy to life, both in year 1 and all the way to year 5. So we'll go to the next slide here. This is a little bit of our methodology, and I believe that Dr. Bullard can or has provided some additional slides here that you can pick this apart in a little bit more detail as well. But we wanted to give you kind of a broad stroke of what this work looks like, broken down into some key phases. So what you see on the left there are what those phases are, how we think about them very broadly, and then on the right, some key objectives and outputs, and then we'll get a little more specific with these as well. But we would start the work with what we think of as plan and align. This is an opportunity to create a governance model to build the planning teams that are going to engage in the strategic planning work, and to take a look at the stakeholder engagement that has been done as part of the 90-day planning. So really get a sense of what that community feedback has been and work that into the overall roadmap of building this 5-year plan. The second is the foundations phase. This is really, I think of this as if you're building a house. This is the foundation that we are going to build the plan from. So this is an opportunity to establish the baseline and to synthesize findings from the stakeholder engagement activities that are being done right now, and to draft a strategic direction. And that might be a new strategic direction, or it might just be some revisions to the existing strategic direction. What I mean by that is that your vision, your mission, and your guiding values as a district. So again, it might be reaffirming what you currently have in place, or it might be an opportunity to revisit some of that language, some of those priorities, and really make sure that they're in a strong place for building out this 5-year plan. The third is the design phase. This is really a community-driven process. It's an opportunity for different members of your community, from even down to students, to parents, to staff of all different roles, to help design some of the key priorities of the districts, and to articulate what those would look like in initiatives, what types of metrics they would want to see, and to really build an outline collectively of this strategic plan. And the final phase is launch. And so this comes out in an external facing document. So we will, of course, produce something that can be shared out to communicate what this 5-year vision and plan looks like, but also a series of project planning tools, which we'll preview a bit here in just a moment, to kick this work off in the first year. So these are just a couple visuals. I think I spoke fairly abstract, and so maybe different ways that you want to learn or process this. So on the last slide, it was kind of overview, key objectives and outputs. On this slide here, just a little more sense of what I'm speaking to. So the plan and align phase, really that we believe that that's work that's happening right now. Even tonight in the learning and listening tours that are going on across each district within Twigs. And then our second phase here, foundation. So moving into bringing community members to the table to take a look at those findings and to begin to co-design what the initiatives would look like as a district and what they would want to see happening or how they would want to see that come out. The third phase there is design. So actually working with you to collaborate and build out an external document or an external communication vehicle, as well as really getting clear on what each of those initiatives look like. And then the last phase there of launch is helping you build some of the project management structures to again monitor, implement, and track that strategic plan over time. We wanted to call this, we know this was really important to senior cabinet, and we spoke a lot about this last week. That monitoring and metrics are, again, just something that we've heard as a need. So we want to recognize every organization, every school district or state organization we work with on strategic planning has different needs or preferences for how they manage, measure, and monitor these types of plans. So we will work with your district to uniquely customize the format and function of the key initiatives that are included within this plan, the way in which you articulate performance metrics and objectives, the annual benchmarks you put in place, and even how you think about actions and owners within those initiatives. So we're going to go through just a couple quick slides here to give you a little more tactical view. But on the right there, you see from another school district a key priority around counseling and student supports, and really detailing out what's the goal of that area, what would success look like, why does it matter, the initial ideas and actions, and then some of the key headlines for what they want to achieve in the first year of that plan. So this is just an image of what we hope to build together with the community members in the design work, and really give you something, Twigs, that as a district you feel is really your own. So we'll look at a couple quick slides here. These are pretty text heavy, but this is a project management vehicle. We think it's really important that if you're going to put a strategic plan in place, that you have a really strong governance structure of what it means to oversee that plan. So what you see on this page are just a way in which we think about who's going to own and really oversee the ongoing work of the strategic plan, or making sure that it's not just a plan on a shelf, but that it's a plan that's really guiding every action of your district. And then all the way down to the different initiatives that you outline and the key owners in your organization who are overseeing those initiatives. So working with your team to really get clear on what is the governance structure of the Twig strategic plan, and feeling we have a lot of clarity around everybody's role overseeing that. The second slide here is around initiatives, metrics, and breaking those down into some annual goals. So thinking about not just what are our initiatives and what do we want to see, but what will progress mean year to year. So working with you all to identify what those desired metrics are across the 5-year plan, and then again, leaving this project with feeling really good about where we're going and what we're hoping to achieve. And then the last slide here is we're kind of zooming in right now. So I started with governance and over ownership. We just looked at the benchmarks that will drive the work. And then really actually building in project management steps. So within our initiatives and our owners, what are the specific milestones and how are we tracking those over set cadences? And on this example, it was quarterly, might be semesterly, it might be another unit at a time, but thinking about what are the key actions that we're working towards on each initiative and how are we reporting on those on a regular cadence.
All right, thank you, Daniel. So hopefully that gives you a deeper understanding and a stronger overview of how we can approach the strategic planning work in Twigs together. What I'm going to do now is just take a few minutes to walk you through what developing an instructional blueprint can look like. And as Daniel shared in the previous slides, we looked at some examples, an example of a governance structure, as well as the initiatives, as well as some of the action plans, or the actions and milestones tied to initiatives, which was just an example. But the idea here, and connecting the instructional blueprint work to the strategic plan, is that the milestones, the actions, and essentially the tactical plan that is put in place, education elements will help you to take the first step and build the capacity of the district in learning and practicing and evolving their project management approach. So both structurally and the day-to-day actions that different senior leaders and different staff members can take to support the rollout of any initiative and support the implementation of the plan. In this case, we're talking about designing an instructional blueprint. And what this comes from is a need to better understand the current state of teaching and learning and professional development. Because when we're talking about instruction, it's not just students who need to learn, it's also teachers who need to learn on an ongoing basis so that they can evolve their practice and sharpen their practice and knowledge to get better for their students and for the community. And what that helps us to do is to develop a coherent instructional blueprint to bring consistency to the teaching and learning as an organization for both students and staff. This is just an example of a instructional blueprint that I helped to design and create with a district in Pennsylvania. And the reason why we did that, and the reason I think that's very similar for Twigs, is to really clarify the guiding instructional philosophy and expectations so that different staff members, teachers, community members are aligned. Part of why that's important is so that there's a shared language. So we understand that personalized learning and having a more student-centered experience to be able to better support the individual needs of each child is critical in Twigs. And there's any number of words and phrases that support that larger change. The other reason why districts choose to develop a clear instructional blueprint is to drive decision-making. So helping and using a tool to help rationalize why certain technology programs are purchased, or why it's worth investing in a certain PD program, or coaching of teachers, or designing the curriculum in a certain way, needs to be rationalized through a shared philosophy and a shared set of beliefs around teaching and learning. And then finally, that also helps to streamline professional development with and for teachers. So it helps to really focus the knowledge and capacity building that can be happening, and making sure that it is aligned to this blueprint. And the way that we approach instructional blueprint design, as I mentioned, it begins with really understanding the current state. So that includes visiting schools, really from a formative perspective, just to understand what's going on in classrooms, and engaging teachers and school leader stakeholder groups, again, to better understand the current state of teaching and learning, and also in what very specific ways do teachers and school leaders believe that learning can evolve. From there, you'll see that this in part mirrors some of how we approach strategic planning work. From there, we facilitate alignment around what's the vision for instruction, then beginning to design the instructional blueprint. So what are the anchors of the guiding philosophy around teaching and learning? And then what that helps us to do is bring something that we can validate with different stakeholder groups, from teachers to community members and even students, so that we can clarify what the direction of instruction should be through that validation. Then we go into stage 3, where we adjust based on that stakeholder feedback. That's also where we begin to get more tactical. So you see on the right in this third row, we begin to align best practices, curriculum, resources to the strategic blueprint. so that it's more clear for everybody across Twigs, both from a very philosophical, right, and directional level down to a more tactical level, what is expected around teaching and learning, and then what are the beliefs that guide those expectations. And then finally, similar to the way we approach strategic planning, we think about how do we actually bring this to life through intentional design around what it looks like to get it adopted, through, again, action planning, making sure that any existing investments around teaching and learning or any existing initiatives are also aligned to how this instructional blueprint is adopted and put into place. And so the main output there is really the adoption plan, which includes some communication support and a guidance document for differentiated by stakeholder groups. We know, Daniel and I know we just walked through, we shared a lot about strategic planning, about the instructional blueprint, and something that we wanted to call out, and especially in light of what we've all experienced as a civilization, as a community, the past year and a half, is we can't predict the future. Right? We have certainly some strong indicators, but we know that predictability decreases over time. And so one thing that we would leave you with is that the way that we think and we approach strategic planning work is that we plan for change, not perfection. And so Daniel pointed out how our strategic planning work, and so too with our instructional blueprint, we set in place metrics, right? And we also set in place in the timeline planned meetings and workshops to help Twigs reflect on the current state and make decisions around when you might need to make pivots. And so planning for that and understanding and embracing the idea that pivots are going to need to happen based on new learnings, based on changing conditions, is certainly a key tenet of how we approach the work that we do around strategic planning. However, we don't believe that that should change the strategic direction, so vision, mission, values, and the larger outcomes that you're working towards. The way you get there might change, but the purpose does not. And then just to summarize here and recap, this is just shows at a glance a summary of the different touch points. So meetings, workshops, both in person and virtual, and as well as the deliverables for each of the 2 phases of the work. So we will stop there, and we can certainly go back to any of the slides if any of the board members would like, and open it up for questions.
All right, seeing no board members have any questions at this time, Dr. Bullard, I would like to submit back to you to give a small synopsis of your recommendation for this plan. As I know tonight is an action item, but I do want you to further engage just a tad about the need for this strategic plan on this level.
Absolutely. Again, thank you, Mr. DeLeon and Johnson.
Thank you.
For thoroughly presenting the methodology and the goal for this plan. As we enter into the next phase, especially coming out of this unprecedented time that we've had with COVID-19, we want to ensure that everything that we do aligns with the needs of our students, that we take the resources that we have to meet their individual needs, that we not do a broad stroke, because we know some of our students are one place and others are at another. I know that our district struggled with connectivity during COVID-19, which meant some of our students, while instruction was ongoing, were not getting that instruction and others were. So that tells you right there that some of our students are going to be a little further ahead than others. But not only with that, we want to make sure that every purchase that we make meets the needs of our students as well. The federal government has been gracious in giving us funds to try to address this learning loss, and we want to be intentional about using those funds to meet the specific needs of our kids. Not buy one box and think we can educate everybody out of one box, because that does not work. So we are taking the time also to listen to you. And I want to thank the community members tonight who came out and shared. We want to make sure that your goals and your perspectives are part of our plan, the things that you see that are important, and that we commit resources to those goals intentionally. And that when you see our strategic plan being presented, you will open it and say it, they heard us. And not only will you see it in the plan, you'll actually get to see the roadmap that we're going to use to implement.
And in the results.
And in the results. So that is the purpose of why we need a in-depth, thorough strategic planning process, one that is intentional, one that is focusing on the individual needs of our students, one that will utilize our resources to meet the individual communication, teacher, student needs that we have after engaging our community, our parents along the way. And you'll get to see the results as we go on this next 5-year journey. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to present this information tonight for the board. We'll bring it to the board meeting and the next meeting as an action item, but we wanted to present our intent and our plan for strategic planning for your consideration on tonight.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time. Thank you for an in-depth overview of your strategic plan. I've learned some things through this presentation as Dr. Bullard and I have had some conversation about our teaching and learning and our professional development. And so we're on the right track, and it's good to hear that we have some strategic plans in place, but this overall district strategic plan with some buy-in from the community, with a lot of buy-in from the community, seems like we're definitely on the right track. So thank you again, gentlemen. Thank you, Dr. Bullard, for this presentation. All right. Business agenda item B, Jeffersonville class of 69. I guess that's 1969. Monument update, information item, Mr. Tyrone Bacon.
Good evening, Board Chair,
Good evening.
constituents, in person as well as virtual. Dr. Bullard and other board members, it's good to be with you this evening. And it's great to report on the Old Jeffersonville High project that we, as a board, are assisting the class of 1969, and the leader of that, Mr. Charlie Stevenson, is spearheading that. So what I'd like to remind everybody is that we are a school system with vision. One generating excellence, one team, one goal. And our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to complete globally. That's who we are. As you can see here, the Jeffersonville, they haven't said if they're a committee, a group, a task force, so I don't know the official name of the class of 1969's group. But they're very tenacious, and they've been on me, and they visit often. So they're a very active group. Any class of 69 members here tonight? If not, I'm sure they're watching. They've already put up a sign of their own to let everybody know that they're starting their project. So as a school system, this was our property. They were interested, and it's a property that for some reason we have let overgrown. So they had some things to get started. So as a school system, we wanted to assist in that, and this is where we are. Next slide. So what are the project goals? Our project goal was to clear the area, stump grade, and make sure all the rubbish and everything was moved out so that they can start the monument planning and building process, so they would have a clean slate for that project. what are some of the project specifications? There were 27 trees that had to be cut down, as well as stump graded. We also roughed in a lot of the areas that were there that needed to be roughed in, as well as remove all of the rubbish. And then next, we will make sure that we have secured all of the areas there. Here are some of the pictures. At first, when we got the first bid to do the work, Dr. Bullard was like, that is way too high. I know what it costs to cut trees. And we didn't realize, we went out there and we actually counted the trees. There are 27 trees that needed to be removed, and those trees were exceptionally large. So on one Saturday, we actually had to stop traffic on Bullitt Road, get some Georgia Power out there because of power lines, and actually cut those. So it's a pretty extensive project. If you've driven by Bullitt Road as of late, you'll see how nice and neat it looks. It's added something that we probably should have done before this, but we're doing it now. Next slide. Took a lot of heavy equipment, and we moved all of the stuff off-site for the class of 1969 to begin. So as you can see where we were and where we are, the site is totally different. It's actually inviting. I see people walking there. We assisted them in getting a construction dumpster. They've already been out one Saturday, so I got to meet a lot of the other classes, mates of 1969, our alumni, as they were out raking, and they were, I tell you, I hope that I am as enthusiastic as the class of 69 to be out on a Saturday morning at about 6:30 with a rake. So they are very dedicated. So it's been good, Dr. Bullard and Chairman, to be out there with them. Our vendor did an excellent job. So it's something that we can be proud of and that they can start. There were some hiccups before, but the system has made sure that they can start the project, and I think it'll be good for them to come and visit. What are our next steps? Our next steps as a district, what is it going to, let me answer some of the questions that we went through yesterday. What is it going to look like? We don't know. We're not in that process. We don't know what it's going to look like. They have their own timeline, design team, and they will be funding that monument on their own. But as the district, we must take risk mitigation steps to ensure that the property is maintained. So we've added that property to be maintained by our current landscape services. We need to secure that property to make sure that for the safety of everyone, people who don't get into the property and don't get into the property that's unwanted. So we're going to secure all entrances as well as place warning signage throughout. And we'll have some sort of boundary or barrier that's highly fluorescent and can be seen to let everyone. While we want you to visit and reminisce, we don't want you to get hurt, and we don't want to cause any undue lawsuits or damage to the property. So with that, Dr. Bullard and Mr. Chairman, that's where we are with assisting the class of 1969 with their monument project at this time. So are there any questions? I will take them at this time.
Mr. Baker, I would like to say that I, too, went out there to look at the property on May the 29th, and it looks great, but I wanted to see if you can go back to the where the sign is, that there's some trees that's kind of behind the building. If you, right, see those trees, those are, it's between the two buildings that's there already, and they're wanting for it to be surrounded, to be clear, because it's like because I tried to walk through there, and then there was a snake.
Okay.
And so if you're going to try and be able to allow the people to come in and see it, that little part behind there would probably need to be cleared off also.
Okay. What I will do,
or at least,
Ms. King, is I will double check and make sure that hadn't already been done. And if it needs to be done, we'll take care of it. And I'll let the superintendent know so that he can inform you of where we are with that process.
Okay.
I'd like to say that Ms. King was elected by the board to serve as project manager for this project with the assistance of Mr. Bacon. So she's adamant to make sure that this project is of our standard. Thank you, Ms. King. if there are no other questions for Mr. Bacon, thank you so much for having the stakeholders' attention with this matter, and thank you for leading this, Dr. Bullard, as we had some graduates of Jeffersonville High who were interested in this project, and the board and we had courageous conversations for a while, Mr. Rouse, and we decided that we wanted to make sure that we took part in this project to make sure we gave them a sense of ownership for our properties in Tweed. So I'm proud to see this project in full effect. It's time. All right, we're gonna keep riding. Business agenda C, Jeffersonville Elementary School HVAC completion. This is an information item also by Mr. Bacon.
Dr. Bullard, Mr. Chairman, board members and constituents, I am very, very happy after an arduous 18 months of project management that we have installed the last installment of the Jeffersonville Elementary HVAC project. But first, what is our vision? Generating excellence, one team, one goal, and our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to complete globally. And they can't do that without air conditioning in Georgia. So what was our project focus? It didn't? Okay. On this slide that's a black hole now, was a film of the Jeffersonville Elementary School summer program. It was a vignette of the students coming into the building and getting ready for class. And why is that important? Because for the last 5 to 6 years, 8 years I've been here, they could not have done that this summer, in the summer. And we think about what's happened. Ms. Jenkins and her team got a grant for free summer program for the pre-K. And if you ever been in a pre-K room, Ms. Fritz, they have all kinds of stuff that they use. They have the rugs, the Muppets, the puppets. They have trucks, trailers. They have blocks. We would have had to move that to facilitate that learning to the high school. That would have been a logistical nightmare. And then move that all back because we didn't want to. Now we can do that in the comfort of Jeffersonville Elementary, thanks to the taxpayers, the foresight of the board, and Mr. Dixon, who was the previous superintendent, that we planned this out so that that could happen. So we did the best that we could. We used the resources that were available. So that was a vignette, and I want to thank Mr. Watkins. He did a good job. I had Jeffrey in the corner, Miss Jenkins. Everything was there, but we'll go on. So very proud that we were able to do that. The project planning process wasn't just, sometimes when you have a lot of money, you can just go and buy. But some of you, I want you to remember the old times, layaway. So some of this, we put on a little layaway. So we had an extensive planning process. So I got with Mr. Austin as well as our vendors so that we can plan our implementation with our money. So we planned the implementation and installation with our SPLOS collection. So we made sure that our SPLOS collection matched our planning process. And it also matched when we were implementing project phases. So that was very important. We incurred no debt. We borrowed no additional money. So when we finished, we COD'd it. We cash on delivery. So that was very good. So we own it. It's ours. We don't have to think about any more payments. Next slide. So what happened? So we broke up the Jeffersonville HVAC project into 5 different phases. 2 of them happened in the summer of 2020, where we did a prototype. So we did a prototype of the unit that we wanted to use. We did a lot of research. Those of you who are on the board at the time, I presented to you a 33-page outline of how we would do this, an outline of all the different models and types of air conditioning units that we would use, from variable refrigeration units to regular condenser units. We decided on a heat pump with 2 stages of cooling, 1 stage of heat, and also using our gas boiler that we had just reconditioned as our secondary heat source. So we did 2 phases in the summer, the prototype, then we installed 2 units at the, on the halls. Then we repurposed some of our better equipment so that we could have all of the school would come back and we would have fairly decent working air all over the place. Ms. Fritz is in here because Ms. Fritz had a room that it was going crazy with the computer, so we had to go in there several times, Ms. Fritz, but you're feeling good now? Thank you. I'm glad you said yes. It's been bad if you said no, yes. So then phase 4, and I want to thank on phase 4 Mr. Broderick Stanley, because we spent our Christmas break out here on phase 4, implementing phase 4, making sure that that was done, and they did an excellent job before the, I don't know if you all are hearing, there are material and supply shortages, so we did a very good job of implementing that at this time during Christmas break. And then our final phase, phase 5, took place during spring break. We were hoping, we started a week before spring break, inconvenienced the elementary school staff a little bit, but they were willing and ready. And we had to inconvenience them a little bit more than we planned because of material shortages at that time of copper pipe and trying to source things that a little bit more cheaply, because prices have risen anywhere from 200 to 300%, if those of you who love Home Depot or Lowe's know that. So we were finished only with 2 weeks behind schedule, and then we had some engineering certifications that we had to go through like we do. So all of these phases have been certified by a third party. So we did our design. We hired someone, Hamlin Air Conditioning and Engineering, to put it in. They're certified engineers. And then we come back with a third party to certify that the air and balance and everything is working right before we pay them. So we're not just guessing anymore. Next slide. So those of you can look at the intensive planning process. So everything had to work because we were putting this in as kids were ready to come back to school. Kids were in the middle of vacation, so we tried to do this and also coordinated with Mr. Austin to make sure that the monies were available at this time. Next slide. So you can see all 5 phases of planning. We do that in-house. We do our own CM, our own construction management. So over time, we were able to get some of those certifications and training so that we don't have to go outside for these kinds of expertise. Next slide. So once again, what did we buy? We bought Train. We bought name brand, a Train you can believe in. New system of 15 tons. So each one of our halls is serviced by 2 15-ton units, which approximately serves 10 classrooms each, except for the media center and the office. The office unit is a 6-ton, and the media center is a 10-ton. So those are the only 2 units that are different. They have two stages of cooling, 1 stage of heat with the secondary, and that means that most heat pumps are very good. Ours are exceptionally efficient. They are good to 32 degrees. If it drops below 32 degrees, then we use that secondary heat, which is the natural gas boiler that we already own. Next slide. Also, with the COVID, CDC required ventilation requirements, we were able to save enough money from our initial estimate that we were able to upgrade some of the existing units. The cafeteria unit was fairly new, maybe 3 to 5 years old, but it did not meet the new CDC air requirements to fight COVID. So we had that ductwork upgraded at no additional project cost. And all of our HVAC systems in our system are equipped with ionic air purifiers. So we had that way before anybody started talking about them at the high school. The high school always had those in because we did that 5 years ago. So they were equipped. What we did do, we made sure that they were working correctly during this COVID process. And then we equipped in the trunk lines of all of the new units at JES with the ionic air purifiers. So we made sure that we had the right amount of airflow along with the air purifiers in the buildings. So that was also done during this project. So where did we end up? The architect's original estimate was $1.1 million. We couldn't do that. So we came up with a design with our vendors and in-house to spend $583,653. We did this over the course of 5 phases. The total came up to $577,000, was left us $6,326. And we did some extra things, like we put a potbelly chemical feeder, which Jeffersonville didn't have, to treat the pipes. I'm being technical because I want you to know, to treat the pipes in the water loop, so we didn't have that conditioning. We have that at the high school. So we were able to do a few extra things and stay within our original budget. So with that, Dr. Bullard, Mr. Chairman, I present to you our final and last phase of the Jeffersonville HVAC renovation project. Are there any questions?
Board members, do we have any questions? Mr. Bacon, thank you so much for overseeing these great projects, and thank you as we see that we have some good implementations for our safety and for our upkeep. So thank you so much for spearheading that. Let's keep moving. Business agenda item D, contracted services information item, Mr. Brian Howell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Board Chairman, board members, Dr. Bullock, constituents, online and in person. Today, before we get started, we want to talk about the mission and vision of Twiggs County Public Schools. The vision is generating excellence, one team, one goal, to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. Just one thing we're going to really talk about now is our contracted services, because we are trying to make sure our students are competing globally. The contracted services offer the opportunity for our students to receive additional services they need to be successful in the school system and in the community. We have 4 contracted services that we provide: physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language therapy, and school psychology. Physical therapy is school-based physical therapy promotes motor development and student participation in everyday routines and activities that are part of his or her programs. With contracted services, we had to go out and find some bids and stuff, so we actually came up with 4 companies who gave bids for this. Middle Georgia RESA, which is our district we're in, they are actually going to charge $6,300 for 36 weeks. Pro-Care Therapy is going to charge $17,922.08 for 36 weeks. The Stepping Stone Group is going to charge $18,432 for 36 weeks. And Soliant is going to charge $18,720 per week for 36 weeks, I'm sorry. Now, so again, these are the offers that we have right here as far as the services that they want to provide for us for physical therapy. Along with physical therapy, we do offer occupational therapy. Occupational therapy addresses the physical, cognitive, psychosocial, and sensory components of performance, including but not limited to fine motor skills, gross motor skills, handwriting, and spacing. Again, we have these services that can benefit our students throughout the whole system. Currently, right now, our offers again bids are with Haynes Therapy. They're looking at $18,720 for 36 weeks. Pro-Care Therapy for $18,976.32 per 36 weeks. The Stepping Stone Group, $18,432, and Soliant again, $18,720. Haynes Therapy is our current provider, and Ms. Reed also serves the students at Elam Alexander in Macon, and right now she does not charge any additional charges for travel. The next contract service that we do offer in Twiggs is speech and language therapy. Speech and language therapy works with students with communication disorders, including but not limited to articulation, that's reduction of sounds, language, expression, and receptive. Again, we have 4 companies with this one. Speech and language, Speech Therapy Unlimited was $53,840 for 36 weeks. Pro-Care Therapy is $54,708.48. The Stepping Stone is $54,432. And Solana Staffing Services, again, $58,752. Again, these are the services that we are providing for our students to help them with needs where they maybe slacking. Along with that, we have a school psychologist we contract out for. Our school psychologist does evaluations for initials and reevaluations, screens for MTSS, classroom observation, and guidance of FBA development. FBA is Functional Behavior Assessment, and also for behavior intervention plans. Our contract offers that we had on this one was from Dr. William Evans for $30,240, ProCare for $34,560, the Stepping Stone was $33,600, and Soliant again was $31,200. Any questions?
Mr. Howard, this concludes your presentation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Who are the current service providers for each of these services that we provide to our scholars?
The first, the current providers for each one is the top one. You have Middle Georgia RESA. The next one again that's for physical therapy. For occupational therapy, you have Haynes Therapy Group. Speech language, you have Speech Therapy Unlimited LLC. And the school psychologist is Dr. William Evans.
Okay. Thank you for a thorough presentation as you have provided us with options. However, we do know that the cheapest is not always the best. In your presentation tonight, we know that this is information for the board to digest. In your presentation to the board and to the community information for action item, we just want to know that any of the service providers that you have listed, how many of them will you retain for the services, not necessarily, Dr. Bullitt, according to their prices. If we're happy with what we have, we'll be happy to keep them. But I know this is formality as we have to present the board options for we have to have a presentation that gives us other opportunities to see. But as the professional in this area, we want to assure that we maintain or hire those who you deem necessary or worthy under Dr. Bullitt's leadership to aid our community for the specific. We want to make sure that we're getting those companies that are specific to the needs that we have to address in our district. So thank you for this presentation. Board members, do you have any questions? This is always a big conversation this time of year because we want to make sure that our partners in progress are suitable for our district. And we've had some changes throughout the years for different reasons. And we want to make sure that we can see some consistency. So if we like what we have, and the money may look a little, we can get confused when we see dollars. So we just want to make sure that the services are being provided. Thank you, Mr. Howell. All right. Business agenda item E, education resources program offerings. This is again an information item from Mr. Brian Howell.
Again, good evening, board chairman, board members, Dr. Bullitt, constituents, online and in person. Again, our vision in Twigs County is generate excellence, one team, one goal. And our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. And which leads us to talking about right now is a transition program that's going to benefit students grades 6 through 12 and definitely be able to compete globally. And it's from Education Associates, Job Ready, Life Ready. Education Associates is a curriculum program that provides career education and employability skills for all students. Not only just students who are at the high level, but students at the low level. It has a curriculum that's actually adapted always for students that are at risk and for students that just the normal students and high achieving students. Again, it has a career awareness, career exploration with over 100 career choices to help students find their future. Again, it has the adaptive curriculum as we've already discussed. It teaches self-confidence and social skills, and also it just prepares students for job and employability. A couple things that with this program, they take the lead as far as leading our students into the right direction. It offers us supplemental resources of what we already have in the schools, but it gives us another chance to see other options in there, which we'll see later on. It aims for comprehension, making sure students are understanding. So sometimes we don't want to just put a student out there on the job and they can't handle it yet. Because some things we can't handle in life, but we want to be able to teach them, train them, so when they go out, they know they're ready. And one thing about this program, once you finish that curriculum, what will happen is each student will get a certificate. And know automatically you're ready for that job that your career you're looking for. One thing about this program too, it does offer real results. And the results are, with this program, it has been shown to decrease dropout rates and increase graduation rates. When students see a goal and a chance to be able to move on in life and show something that they can do, now they get a chance, okay, you know what, I may stay in school so I can graduate. So now if I graduate, I become a productive member of society. Another thing about this program is it shows they have improved test scores. It's been pretty much, it's gone through rigorous evaluations by the U.S. Department of Education, and also it's been pretty much as far as endorsed by CASE, which is the Council of Administrators of Special Education. Along with that, our RESA district has bought into it, has bought several programs from them, and along with other schools within our RESA district. Now, as you can tell, I go through all of these. Just some of the things that these students, some of the packages that we have purchased for the students. We will purchase for the students if approved. Cleaning maintenance, filing, greenhouse work, grocery clerk, hair care and styling, mail handling, table care, child care, animal care, auto body repair, caregiver, carpentry, food service, health and nutrition, retailing, skin and nail care, small injury repair. Now just think about all those things we went through right now that's to be done right here just in Twiggs County, Jeffersonville. Now along with that, it also offers digital materials when saying looking for a job. Okay, so sometimes we don't know what job to look for. Teachers what jobs to look for that fits you. Develop a resume, completing a job application, and interviewing for a job. Sometimes people don't know how to conduct this stuff on the interview. So this program teaches all of that too. And so what we did was we sat down with the middle school, high school principal. We met with the CTAE coordinator, and we also talked with just some of the resource classes too, and realized this right here would be benefit all those students. So in the resource classes, they can use this program every day. In enrichment and study skill class 6 through 12, they can use it 3 times a week. And with the CTA classes, again, at least twice a week they can use it in that class. And it's not going to take place of the curriculum, but it does offer that supplemental resource that they can have. So if I'm a resource student and I've been going through this program every day, now I go to my CTAE class, guess what happens? I get some more reinforcement. So now I'm getting better and better each day. Because of course we know the more we practice, the better we get. Along with this program, we will own this program. This is not something that we buy year to year. It's pretty much when we purchase this program, it belongs to Twiggs County School System. We will be able to use it starting from next year on forth. Because guess what? Our kids still gonna keep coming, and we want to still keep training them over and over again. And so, and the thing about this program, it actually costs $44,155, but at the end, it's worth it for our students to be able to excel and be productive members of society and for the community. All right, any questions?
Proceed.
What other districts are doing this program?
Bibb County.
Bibb County.
Bibb County's doing it. Also, they're looking at Crawford County's looking at it too. But Bibb County did what our RESA district did. She was going to purchase one curriculum for everybody to have to, because they didn't have enough money to buy everybody the entire packet. But it was going to one for everybody in our whole Reese district.
Any further questions? Board members, this is listed on our agenda as an information item, but if you see what I see, that the date for this conference is June 27th, we would hold up the process if we did not make a slight change. I thought he did both. Thank you, Ms. Howe.
Thank you.
I'm trying to speed up. Business agenda item F, which is our summer feeding program update. This is an information item from Ms. Stanley.
Good evening, Board Chair.
Good evening.
Vice Chair, community board members, Dr. Bullard.
Good evening.
Our vision is generating excellence, one team, one goal. Our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. Our Sing the Summer option. The purpose of Sing the Summer is to make sure that all students are receiving meals during this vacation period. Not saying that the students are not receiving a meal at home, but they'll be receiving a nutritious meal. Our next slide, please. Our planning phase. The school nutrition collects the following information for the Georgia Department of Education. First, we have our time and date the meals are being served for breakfast and lunch. And second, we have to put in how many students we plan to serve. I said 300 because of the data that was collected on last year, summer feeding. So I just put in 300. Because it doesn't matter if you go over the number or you go under the number. We just have to have a number in place. So we have to put in our beginning and ending date for senior summer, which is May the 28th through June the 25th, 2021. Last, we must put in our public notification on the website for the stakeholders. Next slide, please. And we must have a staff and CDC. And we must have a staff, and we must go by our CDC guidelines. We have 4 school nutrition employees. We have 2 at Jeffersonville Elementary, and we have 2 at the Miller High School. We have a mobile route, which consists of 6 employees. That's 6 bus drivers. We have 3 that are driving, and we have 3 that assist in handing out meals. And we also follow the CDC guidelines, which require masks, gloves, and sanitation. We're also following those guidelines at school also. If our meals decrease or increase, we are able to adjust our meals and make sure all of our students are being served. Next slide, please. Our resources. Yes, we must have bus drivers to deliver our meals for us. And also, there were robocalls sent out to the parents and to the community. The survey was placed on the website for the parents to respond. And this is how our meals were determined, by the response of the robocalls and completion of the survey. Okay, we're doing our implementation. The seniors started May the 28th, 2021. And the nutrition program is providing meals for students in school and mobile route. Our mobile route consists of house to house, as you say, address to address. And then our in-house is in the school, and they're going through the server line to receive their meals. And our monitoring part is that we must ensure that all students are receiving a meal. When I say receiving a meal, that means they must consist of 5 components: an entree, a vegetable, a fruit, a grain, and a milk. And they must have 3 of those items to complete a reimbursable meal. When I say reimbursable meal, that's how we receive our funding from the State Department. The preparation of meals are prepared in the kitchen. The packaged meals are maintaining the proper temperature, because our hot temperature is 135 or above, and our cold temperature is 41 and below. So when we're taking out meals, we must take our temperature before we leave. Then we must maintain those temperature as we return back to the school. And our counting process completed daily by a tally sheet. This information is placed into our food service management software, then it's placed into our point of sale, then I receive it, and I calculate to see is everything correct, which is called an edit check. That means that we cannot serve over the attendance that we have in school. So when that is done, I send it into the State Department, and this is how we receive our funding. This completes my presentation. Are there any questions?
I'd just like to wait to see if anybody makes up a question. Since we have no questions, your presentation was seamless, and we thank you for what you do in your department. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Stanley. All right. Business agenda item G, Model Schools Conference, out-of-state travel. This is an action item by Mr. Ryan Howell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How y'all doing again? Board Chairman, board members, Dr. Bullock, constituents, online. Again, today, before we start out with everything, just talk about our vision. Never changes, every time. Vision, generating excellence, one team, one goal. Mission, to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. Again, everything we're doing is for these students. One of the things we're looking at doing right now is attending the Model School Conference, and their theme this year is Unite and to Ignite. The group that we're looking at sending to this Model School Conference is the PBIS team. The PBIS is a positive behavior intervention and support for the school system. There are over 1,400 PBIS schools in Georgia and over 27,000 nationwide. PBIS has saved countless hours of discipline, has saved countless hours of instructional, it saved countless instructional hours. I couldn't get it out there, I'm sorry. I need that speech services. Have saved countless instructional hours, otherwise lost to discipline. The premise of PBIS is to teach positive behavior in the classroom and in the community. As you can see, some of the things that they do try to teach: truth, honesty, citizenship, be safe, integrity, respect, positive behavior, and also having good character. Now, this year's PBIS team consists of leaders, consists of myself, I'm the district coordinator, Ms. Angie Boston, the assistant principal at Jeffersonville Elementary School, and Ms. Renata Woodley, again, I need that service, Renata Woodley, Twiggs Middle and High School. She's assistant principal there also. Along with that, each school will have 6 to 8 people that's under them to make up the PBIS team. As far as the conference that we're looking to attend, this conference has been going on for nearly 30 years. Again, it's convening like-minded, focused, future-focused leaders and teachers to share innovative practices being replicated in the halls and classrooms throughout the country. One thing, especially this time of year, this is our first time our students in about a year and a half are coming back first day of school in August. So it's gonna be different. So of course, things are gonna be a little different. So we're gonna have our team in place, and this conference is gonna help us get there. Now, a couple things that we'll be focusing on when we go attend the conference: rigor, relevance, and relationships, innovative learning environments to meet all the needs of all students, social and emotional well-being, technology integration, organizational structure, leadership strategies, blended and hybrid remote learning modules, cultural relevance, prioritizing standards, and data teams. And as you can see, there's things we're doing every day here in Twiggs County. Now, what will happen is once we go to this conference, we'll go there Each member is going to break down and go to some of these workshops. They will come back at the end of the day, we'll re-deliver to each other, come up with a plan. As we come back to the system, we'll re-deliver to the board, we'll re-deliver to our school system, and out to our schools, and to making sure that we are all on the same page with everything. The estimated cost for this whole program is going to be $11,030, but that's for the entire group. Goes up to 5 people. Any questions?
Where is this supposed to be at?
It's going to be at Nashville, Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Board members, do we have any more questions for Mr. Howell? If not, Superintendent Bullard, what is your recommendation?
Mr. Chair, I recommend that the board approve our PBIS team to travel to Nashville, Tennessee to participate in this conference.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. Board members, we've heard the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion has been properly made by Ms. Stokes. May I have a second?
Second.
Properly second by Ms. King. Is there any discussion? No discussion. I'll know you by saying aye, raising your hand. You support this motion?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Howell. Our next business agenda item, item H, April FY 2021 financial report. This is an action item. Mr. Austin.
Good evening, Board Chair,
evening.
Vice Chair, Board members, Superintendent Dr. Bullard, constituents in person and on the online community. I want to talk about our month-end April 30th, 2021 report. But before I begin discussing our financial health, I'd like to remind you all of who we are. Generating excellence is our vision, with one team, one goal. Our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. We are 83.33% into our FY21 budget. We are coming to the tail end, and we are excited to march toward June 30 as we complete another successful year. Some of the key highlights on April 30th budget is to look at the revenue that we've taken in thus far. We've collected 97.74% of the anticipated revenue for the year, which outpaces where we are in our current budget for our percentage complete, which is a great thing. As we look at the expenditures that we have completed to this point, we are at 90.88%. And we have taken in $532,726.21 more than we have expended out. And so we have a positive ending to our April 30th, 2021 financial report. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns about what's before you?
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Board members, do you have any questions? There should be no questions. Dr. Bullard, what is your recommendation?
Mr. Chair, I recommend that the board approve the April FY21 financial report as presented.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. We've heard the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I make that motion to approve the FY20 FY '21 financial report.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. Blackshear. May I have a second? Seconded by Vice Chair Mr. Rouse. Is there any discussion? If there should be no discussion, I know you by your support of this motion by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Yes, sir.
All right. Business agenda item I, FY 2022 budget approval. This is an action item again by Mr. Austin.
We have came to a very exciting part of our budget calendar, and that's the approval, the tentative approval of our tentative budget. I'd like to tell you our story, how we came to this particular point. Our first phase was to inspire. We wanted to have administrative sessions to gain input, feedback, and determine what's the best way to ensure all our students had an equitable experience as it relates to their education in Twiggs County Public Schools. So some of the things we talked about was technology, one-to-one initiatives, the operational needs for safety, and ensuring that all the maintenance to the buildings and facilities were in order. HR procedures and policy. As you know, the better the procedures and policies, the more attractive we can look to a potential employer, and the better recruits that we have to entertain and retain for our students. We also received internal stakeholder feedback, ensuring that we were very inclusive from all of our administration. And as we looked at how we would inspire people for the budget, we had to remember what the challenge would look like. So we prepared to restore our staff to full capacity to rise to the challenge of continuing to for our students to compete globally. We also increased the state certified schedule by 3% for all our teachers. And also we increased the classified scale by 3%, which includes custodians, bus drivers, clerical staff. We want to ensure everyone received an equal opportunity to increase pay because we have to be competitive in this market. We also ensure that we focus on strategic priorities to address learning loss and to ensure we were prepared to transition from a global impact that COVID-19 has had on our district and neighboring districts across the country. The third thing we had to really focus on was the preparation. How do we prepare to compete globally? And that's simple. We looked at a strategic plan for the past 3 months. We had several budget workshops. We ensured that we had extreme transparency in the process, that we had strategic focus, that we had district alignment, and fiscal stewardship. We have been intentional, innovative, and inclusive. This is our budget story, and we're sticking to it. The sole purpose of this budget is to generate excellence. One team, one goal. Are there any questions?
Board members, we've heard Mr. Austin's presentation for our FY 2022 budget. Dr. Bullock, what is your recommendation?
Mr. Chair, I recommend that the Board of Education approve the FY '22 budget approval as presented by Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Dr. Bullock. Board members, may I have a motion?
I motion to approve the FY '22 tentative budget
Motion's
given
been
by Mr. Austin.
Thank you, Ms. King. Motion been properly made by Ms. King, District 3. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Blackshear. Is there any discussion? There should be no discussion. I'll know you by saying aye. Raise your hand if you approve this motion.
Aye.
Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Thank you.
All right. Business agenda item J. district requests. This is an action item being presented by Dr. Mac Bullard.
Good evening again, Mr. Board Chair,
Good
Vice Chair,
evening.
Board members, community members, in person and virtual. I do have some district requests that I'd like to present to you tonight, but before we begin, I'd like to revisit our vision, and that is that we are generating excellence, one team, one goal. And our mission is to inspire, challenge, and prepare all students to compete globally. What you have before you is a list of trips that our basketball team, our coaches have planned for our basketball team in preparation for the upcoming school season. I'll go from the dates that are closest to the ones that are furthest out. June 7th through 9th, Twiggs County High School girls basketball, New Manchester High School, which is in Douglasville, Georgia. Followed by June the 12th, Twiggs County boys basketball, Kennesaw State University. Followed by the 15th, Twiggs County High School girls basketball, Wilkerson County High School, McIntyre. June 18th, Twiggs County boys basketball, Perry High School, which is in Houston County. June 19th, Twiggs County High School boys basketball, which is also Houston County. June 24th, Twiggs County Middle School basketball, Williams James Middle School, which is in Statesboro, Georgia. And then June 25th, Twiggs County High School boys basketball, Valdosta State University. I want to ensure the board members, again, that we've had extensive conversations with our basketball coaches as well and with the families of the boys and girls on the basketball team, that if they are participating in our summer learning opportunity, that is the priority. They cannot attend a basketball game that is conducted during the time of the summer learning opportunity. The only games that those who are participating in the summer learning opportunity that they can participate are the 2, 3 o'clock games. But if they are members of the team, they are not eligible to participate, and there has been no argument. They understand where the priority lies. We know and we want our athletic teams to prepare, to compete, and we understand that you compete at a higher level when you compete against those who are in a class that you are, or sometimes the class above you. So you do have to give the students an opportunity to engage in competitive activity if you want them to perform well during the season. So we want to give them a chance to have a great season, but we do want them to remember that they are student athletes, students first, okay? And then following, we do have a facility request to utilize our Jeffersonville Elementary School gym on June the 18th from 7:30 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. Live Well Twigs and our representative is Ms. Mindy Floyd will be hosting a multi-county and multi-organizational health fair in our Twiggs County Jeffersonville Elementary School gym. We are excited about that opportunity. I think they're expecting over 20 healthcare vendors to come and do everything from monitor your blood pressure, your heart rate, all the way to healthy eating and healthy cooking, even as much as growing your own vegetables. So lots of opportunities to learn how to live and to eat and to be healthier, and we're excited about utilizing our facilities for that community event. Board, these are the district requests that I present to you tonight for your approval.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. Dr. Bullard, what is your recommendation?
My recommendation that you approve, that the board approves the field trips and the facility requests as I've presented them.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. Board, as we see, we have a number of requests. What is the consensus of us taking these individually or all at once? The table sounded like it said all at once.
All at once.
Thank you. Board, we've heard the superintendent's recommendation. May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. Stokes. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. King. Is there any discussion? If there should be no discussion, I'll know you by raising your hand and saying aye if you approve this motion.
Aye.
Aye. And one sustained, that motion carries 4, 1 abstention.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The journey is not over. At this time, Dr. Bullard, have I omitted anything on our business agenda tonight?
Mr. Chair, you have been very efficient tonight in taking us through the agenda. You have not missed any items on our business agenda for tonight.
Thank you. Before we exit public session or open session, board members, have I omitted or failed to offer an opportunity for comments?
No.
Thank you, board members. Dr. Bullard, at this time, I have a motion, if it's pleasing to the board, to move into executive session.
So moved.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. King. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Blackshear. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll know you by saying aye or raising your hand if you approve this motion. Aye. No opposed. That motion carries unanimously. At this time, we will enter into executive session for personnel matters, and we will resume our public meeting with our findings or with our superintendent's recommendations and with a vote concluding our executive session. Thank you so much for our online viewers, our in-person viewers. We hope that you would stay with us virtually, and we know that you'll stay with us face-to-face. Thank you. Good evening again, Tweaks County. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for being with us this evening as we entertain business of importance to build, continue to build one team, one goal in Tweaks County Public School District. Listen, this time I'd like to entertain a motion to return to public session from executive session.
So moved.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. Batshire. May I have a second? Second by Vice Chair Mr. Rouse. Any discussion? No discussion. I know you support this motion by saying aye, raising your right hand.
Aye.
Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. At this time, we will receive the superintendent's recommendations for personnel matters, and I will begin with resignations. If it pleases the board, I'll begin with resignations. At this time, I will call for a motion to accept the resignations for IED 60801, IED 60802, IED 3269, IED 3303. Those resignations, if it pleases the board, we'll call the names of these resignations for those individuals who are exiting our district. Thank you so much for your service, and thank you for what you have done in Tweaks County during your time here. Ms. Christian Alexander, Ms. Janae Rogers, Mr. Henry Hankerson, and Mr. Patrick Toney. And this time I'll ask for a motion to accept these resignations.
I make the motion to accept all 4 resignations.
Motion's been properly made to accept the resignations. Properly second by Ms. Stokes. Any discussion? No discussion. I know you by supporting this motion or raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. At this time, I will read the names of appointments. I will not read IEDs. I will read the names of the transfer of appointments or new appointments, recommendations by Superintendent Bullard. Is that fine?
Yes.
All right. This time we will accept all of these change of appointments at one time, if it pleases the board. Superintendent recommendation for transfer of appointments or new appointments. Mr. James Austin, appointment Assistant Superintendent, Finance and Operations. Change of appointments, Miriam Reardon, appointment to Executive Director of Curriculum and Federal Programs. Change of appointment, Tyrone Bacon, appointment to Executive Director of Operations. Change of appointment, Ms. Tina Timms, appointment to Director of Human Resources and Communications. Board, we've heard the recommendations from the superintendent and we have accepted that recommendation. May I have a motion to accept the transfer of appointments for the individuals named and the titles named at this time?
So moved.
Motion's been properly made by Ms. King. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Stokes. Is there any discussion? Should there be no discussion, I'll know you by supporting this motion. Bless you. By supporting this motion, or by saying aye. Or raising your right hand?
Aye.
Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Dr. Bullard, have I successfully completed the recommendations on tonight, giving them to the board as well as the community?
Mr. Chair, you certainly have. I want to thank the board again for their confidence and their support of the school district and the direction that we're going. We are truly preparing to generate excellence in every area of our school district, and we appreciate your support and look forward to giving you win after win after win in our school district for our students and for our staff.
Thank you, Dr. Bullard. Board members, have I successfully completed those items that we entertained in public session and executive session?
Yes.
Thank you, board members. At this time, if there should be no discussion, no further comments, Thank you, Ms. Stokes, for allowing us to preview and sit in your district tonight. At this time, I ask for a motion for adjournment. The motion has been properly made to adjourn for the evening. May I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Rouse. Is there any discussion? No discussion. If you would, let me know that you support this motion by raising your hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposes? No opposes. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Good night, Tweaks County.